It's a public hearing for our 2014 school tax levy for fiscal year 15. As provided by state statute and duly published, a public hearing will now be held. At this time, citizens may be heard on the property tax rates proposed to be set by the Raleigh School District 31 political subdivision. The tax rates will be set to produce the revenues which the budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2014 shows to be required from the property tax. And Mrs. Vicki Gorman is going to lead this discussion.
As required by statute, annually the taxing entities are required to have a tax rate hearing. We receive information from the three counties in which our school district resides. That would be Phelps, Marys, and Dent counties. The information is gathered from these counties, and then we prepare the tax rate calculation. There are certain statutes and constitutional directives that determine how the tax rate is to be calculated. We follow those statutes, and as noted, we are having our tax rate hearing as is necessary. Part of the tax rate calculation, one of the components is the Proposition C statutory rollback. There are 35 school districts in the state of Missouri that have no Prop C waiver, and Rolla is one of those school districts. Therefore, we are required to calculate the amount of revenue that is generated and received from Proposition C, which was a statewide sales tax enacted in 1982. And we are required to roll back half of the revenue that is generated from that particular sales tax. This slide indicates the Prop C rollback calculation for the past 3 years. As you see on the slide, fiscal year 15, the fiscal year that we are just beginning, the Prop C calculation indicates that we need to roll back our local levy by 40.9 cents. That is an increase over last year by about 4 cents. Because we saw an increase in our Prop C revenue last year, that has required us to increase our Prop C rollback. The assessed valuation by category, we have real estate, assessed value, personal property, railroad, and utilities. We did see an increase in the assessed valuation for real estate, a decline in personal property, which primarily that was due to a change, a statute that was enacted effective August of last year, of how the vehicles are valued in the state of Missouri. So that did have a negative impact on our personal property values. For the current year, our total assessed valuation is $389,539, as compared to last year, $389,938,000. So as you can see, we did have a decline in our total assessed value. This slide indicates the growth in assessed value over several years, and this slide just shows you a historical view. When we compare 2014 to 2013, our assessed value, as I had indicated earlier, our total amount decreased by $938,000. This is a decrease of just over 2 basis points. We did see new construction and improvements totaling $3,120,000, and as I had noted earlier, a decrease in our personal property tax. As part of the calculation for our tax levy, we are allowed to realize growth as a result of new construction and any increases in personal property tax. However, the base, which is 2013, we are not allowed to see growth or benefit from the growth in our existing assessed value. We have to compare the actual change from 2013 to 2014 compared to the Consumer Price Index or a maximum increase of 5%. The Hancock Amendment requires that we roll back or reduce our tax levy from any revenue that is generated from reassessment. Because as we do the calculation that you see in your packet, our actual value decreased, therefore we are not permitted to see any revenue growth for 2014. The summary, again, showing the comparison and showing that the net decrease of the base value, assessed value of 1.4%. Okay, so as we talk about our tax levy, there's the appraised value versus the assessed value. The assessed value is a percentage of the appraised value, which is comparable to market value. For residential property, the assessed value is 19% of appraised value, and commercial is 32% of appraised value. So just looking at an example of a residence and assuming that a person owns a $150,000 appraised home, the assessed value of that home is $28,500. If you multiply the assessed value times the proposed tax rate of $3.21.112, the total school tax owed for that particular homeowner is $915.19. The change from last year is because we are going to be recommending a slight decrease in our tax levy, that particular home last year comparison, that's actually a decrease of $2.40 from last year. The calculation indicates that our unadjusted operating levy would be $3.37. As we discussed earlier, we have a Prop C rollback of 40 cents, and therefore the adjusted levy proposed is 2.9612 for our operating levy. Our debt service, the calculation indicates that we could levy a debt service of 36.69 cents. However, after reviewing the debt service calculation and the balance that we have in our debt service, 25 cents will produce enough revenue to meet our obligations related to debt service. Therefore, as part of our recommendation, we will have a voluntary rollback of 11.69 cents in the debt service levy. This particular slide indicates the tax levy history, showing years 2001 through 2013 and the recommended tax levy for 2014. And as I indicated earlier, there is a recommended slight decrease for our overall operating, for our total levy. This slide indicates a graphical view of our tax levy from, and I can't see that, what year that is, but
1988.
1989 to the current year. So that's what this particular slide indicates. We also compare in many areas. We utilize the Camdenton Salary Survey to determine if we are competitive as far as our salaries and benefits. So we take the same school districts and compare our levy with those particular school districts. The levy that I am reflecting on this screen is actually fiscal year 14. We do not have all of the information for fiscal year 15 because not everyone has had their tax rate hearing. So this slide will be updated in the next couple of months once we receive all of that information. But as you can see, Rolla is near the bottom in our tax rate and this again was last year at 3.2196. The recommendation for our tax levy for the fiscal year 15 is an operating levy of 2.9612 with a debt service levy of 25 cents and a total levy of 3.2112.
Thank you, Vicki. Anybody have any questions for Vicki? This time we'll welcome any public comments on the proposed tax levy. Please state your name for the record and we'll give you 5 minutes to share. Seeing none, we'll move on.